Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm so glad to be here today. I have been busy. Let me see, I started my morning at 7:30. It's now 1 o'clock. It's not over yet, but that's Saturday. That's the way things work for me. But I'm glad to be here with you guys today for your energy workshop. My name is Stephanie Robinson, and I'm with Ameren, Missouri. I'm the supervisor of community relations. So I'm kind of in charge of all of the Metro St. Louis, to include schools and nursing homes, St. Louis County Council, and then also St. Louis City Board of Aldermen. So I got a large area that I'm responsible for. My main concern though in this job is to continue to educate people on how to save. Because we're all creatures of habit, so we do things that our grandmothers did, that our moms did, that our great-great-great-great-grandmothers did, and it just continues to pass down the line, and we really don't consider how we can affect our bottom line ourselves without really having to make a whole lot of changes. But we just have to be kind of conscious of what we're doing in our homes. First, I want to talk about, before I show you a video, first I want to talk about some of the things that we do in our homes. For example, everybody's buying the new TVs. Everybody's got HD something. Everybody's got the new cell phone or some type of smart or Android that's pulling a lot of power. We leave our cell phones connected every night. Everybody's charging their phones. Even when you leave, you probably still have your cell phone charged up. That's pulling power. A lot of people have their computers. Computers stay on all day most of the time. It may shut off, but you never completely shut it, turn it off. So that's running. How many people wash 5 and 6 times a week? I do. I just do. I can't help it. I've always done it, and that's one of the things that even I work for Ameren. I need to change some things myself. I have children that wash 6 times and 7 times a week, 2 or 3 items at a time. So that's very annoying. Then they're taking showers. My son and my daughter, I'm wondering, were they in the mud playing today? But they're in the shower literally, it's almost like an hour. And I'm saying, what's going on? So my husband is a retired chief from the Navy. And every so often, I'm gonna say once a quarter, he gets this whole, we're going to the basics. And we go to the basics and we literally shut everything down. So showers are 2 minutes, so we have the little timer, that's 2 minutes. And he only allows us to do that because, all right, I'll let you go in and take a shower. But normally we maybe camp outside, or even if we're inside, we don't use the stove, we don't fry anything, everything is grilled. So we try to change everything that we do, and it's kind of like a little weekend thing, and it ends up being 2 days because I start complaining after the first day. But it really helps out a lot because we take for granted all of the necessities that we really are, all of the wants that we want and use but don't really need. So once you break yourself down and really say, okay, I'm not gonna cook anything, or even if you're gonna cook, I'm gonna cook only on this day, I'm gonna cook all my meals for the week. Now, how many people really do that? We don't have time, or we really do, we just don't think we have time. But that's one of the ways in which we can kind of cut back on even just using the stove and the oven and things so much. Our refrigerators, how many people's refrigerator is just stacked with stuff? Nobody in here?
Oh, yeah.
I was getting ready to say, and I'm not just talking about just because you went grocery shopping. I'm talking about just stuff that you've used and put it in a container, put it back in and got another container, put that in, maybe my grandmother was a stickler for not having pots in the refrigerator, and if she saw my refrigerator today, she'd probably give me a good spanking, but we stack our refrigerators so much, but we forget that the refrigerators are working very hard to keep everything in the refrigerator cold. So if you limit the amount of items that you have in your refrigerator, which I do now because I'm not there enough to cook and to grocery shop, so I keep enough in there, maybe eggs, butter, cheese, I have milk, and I have some juice. But as far as just keeping a full refrigerator now, I don't do it. But I'm not doing it because I'm being conscious. I'm doing it just because I'm busy. But it does help out a lot. Your refrigerators last longer. let's talk about the air conditioning units and the heat. How many have turned the heat on since it's been chilly outside? You've already turned it on. I am not turning it on because I am going to purposely try to save. So I got my turtlenecks on, I got my warm-ups on, I'm in bed with my socks, everybody's in the house cold. I am not going to turn it on because I want to see how long I can go without having to, have that going. A couple weeks ago, it started kind of cooling off a little bit, so you didn't have to run your air conditioning unit. It was hot in the house. I told everybody, well, if I've seen you in your birthday suit before, I'm gonna see you now. So just take off whatever you can. So for the month of September, well, mid-September, now I'm into October, I have used very, very, very little energy, very little. And I'm really proud of myself because I'm telling you, my husband's got the TV on. When he goes to sleep, I try to turn it off. He wakes up and turn it back on. My son's got his TV on in his room. My daughter, she just left for college. And I said, why is your room being used for anything? But my son is in her room with his extra stuff. And it's just, everybody's got their own thing going on. And I remember back in the day when we only had one television in the house. But now everybody has a television. The kitchen even has a television. I mean, what made me think I couldn't go from the living room to the kitchen and can't hear what's going on TV? I got to see it. So now I got that television running. So it's just so much that we're doing every day, and our consumption is skyrocketing. Now, you have to understand too that we have so many things going on within our city, within our community. With Ameren, for example, we have to make sure that our reliability is up to par. So we're working on our infrastructures and putting money into that. But when the rates go up, they affect me too, because I don't get a discount. So I have to consciously start saying, okay, Steph, what do you do to help with your own bill? So I'm not on budget billing, and I probably was the first person who wasn't on budget billing because everybody at my job is on it. But they says, why aren't you on budget billing? And I says, well, because I'm probably going to overdo every month what I'm supposed to be managing, so it wouldn't benefit me. But most people that I know are on the budget billing because they're trying to manage what they're using per month. Some people I hear all the time say, I can't wait to the end of the year because I'm gonna get this credit back, I get this check back, because they're realizing that they're managing their monthly bills, which is perfect, their monthly usage, and that's perfect. So I work hard trying to educate people on how to save and what they can cut back on. So I am going to ask the question, what is it that you think right now in your household that you can cut back on that will help you save? Anybody?
Our computers are on all the time.
Computers are on all the time. So do you have to have them on all the time?
No.
Okay.
It's like power down.
Power down.
But I'm going to be back and it takes so long to boot up and
So you leave those on all the time. Okay, anybody else?
Leaving lights on.
Leaving lights on. Leaving lights on, exactly.
Leaving the chargers plugged in.
Leaving the chargers plugged in.
Television on all night.
Television on all night. Anybody else?
Air conditioning at night.
Air conditioning at night. So, and that's really a good one, because if you can, a lot of people have to have it cool at night to sleep. But, and then it's good for your home too, so that you don't get any moisture build up in your home. But how many people know the temperature that you're supposed to have your thermostat on in the winter and in the summer?
68.
68 and
72.
78. Yep, 78, not 72. Yeah, and a lot of people think that, a lot of people say, like me, it's never gonna be 78 mine. It's just not gonna work for me. But that's one of the things that I have to deal with, but I'll change something else so that I can kind of balance things. But I can't deal with it. I lived in Florida for 6 years, and I wish I could have showed you that bill. But there's some things you just can't do without. It's gotta be nice in the house for me. But that's what it's supposed to be on. Not 72, but 78. It's 68 and 78. Hard to do. 68 is cold for some people, especially in the wintertime. 68 is not gonna work. For me, it's probably not gonna work. That's why I'm trying now work it out now, because once it really gets cold and I can't stand it, it's gonna have to get hot in my house. And my husband always says, it's too hot in here. I said, oh well, you gotta handle it, because that's just one of the things that I do. But I will cut my television off, because I get to the point where nobody's watching television. I mean, absolutely nobody. Nobody. I said, if you want to watch TV, go to your friend's house and use up their stuff. That's what I do sometimes. My husband is kind of hard to break, because he's just one of those ones who won't listen until it comes to that 1 quarter in the month where he wants to say, hey, we're cutting everything down. I mean, we've camped, we've done a lot of stuff, but just to kind of show kids and really our family that you really can cut back. So one of the things that I wanted to share with you guys, I don't know if you've heard of some of the rebates that we have. One of the things that we don't do in our own homes, and it's just sometimes because we don't have time or even money, money doesn't allow us to do certain things, is service our heating units, service our electrical units. We don't do that. We just kind of live a lot of times, and that's okay. But when you do that, when something does come up, it's very, very expensive to fix. So we need to get in the habit of having a repair person come out to just service, just take a look at my heating unit and my air conditioner, my HVAC, and just see if everything is working properly on it, because it needs to be cleaned. If you don't clean it, you're spending more energy to have that working for you. So, and I don't do it. I work for Ameren and I don't do it. And every time I get the opportunity to read something about it, I say, shoot, I forgot to, and then I'll schedule something. But I too have trouble just trying to follow even what I teach. But you have to kind of start somewhere. When you call to have someone come out to look at your heating and cooling, depending on what they're doing, we have rebates that will offer $75 if you have somebody come out and look at your system. Now, when they come out, I'm pretty sure they're gonna find something. They probably are, and you're probably gonna have to pay for something to be repaired, and that's why a lot of us won't call. I gotta call you. I know you're gonna find something. That's okay. I won't call. And then years go by and you never do it. So that's one of the rebates that we do have. If you have to replace anything, we also have rebates for that. You when you go into Home Depot and Lowe's and things like that, you want to keep your receipt and call this number and I'll pass these out to you. And we do have rebates for you to get a higher energy efficiency device or whatever that is. As far as your programmable thermostats, how many people have programmable thermostats, or do you have the old ones? Okay, and do you use the programmable thermostat? Really good. Okay, I bought one, didn't use it. I set my thing and I was out the door, and that was it for me. So I didn't realize though that you can set it over the course of the day, so that when you're doing it, it's shutting off. Maybe an hour before you come home, or 30 minutes, it's it's coming back on to maybe cool off your house, and then at a certain time at night it shuts to a certain temperature. I wasn't using it for that. I just bought the thing so that I could get the rebate. Because we have a $25 rebate when you buy the programmable thermostat. So I bought one that was $27. So when I went up there, I got my rebate and I spent $2 for a programmable thermostat. I didn't even use the thing. So now that I have this in my hand, it reminds me, Steph, read the book so that you can program it, But again, that's creatures of habit. I mean, my mom still to this day, I cannot get her to get a programmable thermostat because she believes in this. And don't touch her stuff because she goes absolutely crazy. Did you touch that? I said, well, Mom, I was there for a minute. I know you touched it. But I said, well, if you get the programmable one, we don't have that problem. But she knows when you've been in her house and touched her stuff. But she won't change it. And it's an old one too. I said, Mom, if you touch it again, it's going to fall off. She won't change it. But that's what she's used to, because she thinks the programmable one is going to cheat her in some kind of way. And it's not going to read it right. And I said, okay, Mom, well, whatever. If that's the way she does it, that's the way she does it. But there's sometimes in her house, I'm like, fanning, and I'm saying, Mom. She says, you'll be all right, open the door, open the screen door, open the screen, and that's what she does, but that's what they're used to. They're used to that. My grandmother lived right down here on Pershing, on the other side of Pershing, and my grandmother, I don't think she ever had any air conditioning running. My grandmother's from Mississippi, and she never had the air. She always had her windows up. but my grandmother's bill was, I mean, little small bill. I said, how do you do that? But I'm not gonna have my windows open sometimes. It's just not gonna work. I'm gonna have it on 72 or something that I'm not supposed to have it on, but I'm gonna try to save somewhere else. But I just wanted you guys to know about those rebates. But definitely check out make sure you get your homes and things checked out, your windows. I know that sometimes things can get a little expensive when we're trying to purchase things. Everything is expensive now, but we still have to at least call people out, because what if your windows are allowing air to leak, to seep out, or air to come in, so you're kind of wasting heating or cooling. Your furnace, what if your furnaces are not up to par? I had a couple places that I visited, and one of the furnaces, it wasn't sealed on the bottom, so that air was coming out. And I asked the lady, I said, well, how long has this been like this? And she says, well, I've been in the house 29 years and she's never had it repaired. And we don't think that that's something that has to happen. So when we called, we had somebody go out to the home, and she needed to replace the entire unit. Now, did she do it? No, but she's going to try to get it done. But that, I mean, when did that happen? To her, when did that start leaking at the bottom like that? Who knew? And sometimes some of our municipalities will, depending on where you live, their public works people will come out to kind of do inspections and things like that on your home and put violations up. I know one day I had about 6 violations. I said, what in the world? And when I went through them, it was something that could help me. My carbon dioxide, I had to make sure I replaced those. I had to make sure that I put some caulking around my furnace, because I did not buy a new furnace, but I did have my furnace repaired and cleaned. That's one thing that we do need to do, is make sure that we have our furnaces cleaned. I mean, literally vacuumed out. How many people have done that? Okay, 3. Did you watch them when they did it?
No,
No, you didn't?
no, so we have them come out every year.
Okay, yeah. So when you watched that, I couldn't believe. I was down in there. I said, are you sure that's right? Is all of
I
that?
don't want to see it.
Yeah, but you never know. And even when you go outside to your air conditioning unit, the coils, how many people's coils are smashed? You never know. You better check it. But I had no idea that you needed to go through there and take care of that. Now, my husband does it because he's a master plumber and electrician. So some of the stuff he can take care of. He'll say, oh, I'm going to need to buy a new one. I can do this and I can do that. Okay, well, that's your thing. You know about that part. But some of us don't have master plumbers or electricians as husbands or wives. Because wives can do it too, or sons and daughters. We don't have anybody to kind of pay attention to that stuff. So just make sure that I will pass these out to you. I want to share with you the Energy Assistance Guide. And we have different agencies that we work with that will help people with their bills. We just had an event over, this was yesterday, we had an event over at the New North Side Family Life Center. And we had people, had a whole big thing, probably about 1,200 people. And these were people that had come into the agencies, and they were just having serious problems with their bills. And when I say serious problems, I mean like $1,400, $1,200 here, or have already received disconnection notices and things like that. We have organizations and agencies that we work with, and Ameren work with, to help people with their bills. So if you ever find that you have a situation where you need some assistance, make sure that you call Ameren, because we have plenty. Matter of fact, I just passed People's agency is right there on, what is that? Delmar, yeah. And they were there yesterday as well. But we serviced about 1,200 people yesterday, so that was actually perfect. I already spoke about budget billing, and I will leave this with you as well. I am going to get on budget billing, because I told you I was not on it, but I am going to get on it and see if it really works for me. One of my oldest daughter is on it, and she lives in an apartment. They set her budget billing, because of course budget billing looks at 12 months, and then it takes the average. They have her set at $75, but she's only using about $23, $28 worth of service. And she's one who's just cheap, so she don't turn anything on. She's not really conscious of the stuff I do, but she's just cheap, so she doesn't turn anything on. So her bill's $23. So I've been talking to her that maybe the budget billing is really not for her because she's not even reaching her average. So she probably should kind of reconsider. She said, yeah, because I'm not going to turn anything on. But this is the same child of mine who had to have cable, who had to have her own gaming system in the room, and But now that she has her own apartment, none of that stuff is happening. She doesn't even have cable. As a matter of fact, she's got the antenna. And she says, when I went over to her house, says, well, I want to watch it. She says, you want to watch it here? Wait a minute, but you watched it at my house. You know, went in the refrigerator, nothing's there. I said, well, wait, but you had stuff in my refrigerator. So when I go in her house, I left the front door open. I just walked in, left the door open. Then I walked across the carpet, had my shoes on, went in the refrigerator, left the refrigerator door open because that's what they do. And she says, what are you doing? What are you doing? I said, that's what you did in my house. So now it's different when I come to yours. So it's amazing how, as you know, when you're trying to teach your children when they're growing up, they do learn. They act like they don't learn, but they do learn. But I just have to share that little bit with you guys because I like to talk a lot. Okay, so how do I get
Guess 2.
guess
You
to?
get right back to where you were.
Okay. I have Apple.
Oh, click the button on the left underneath the mouse pad to select.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so you probably have already, or if you haven't, you will be receiving a new energy statement in the mail. Have you all gotten it yet? Okay, so I'm going to show you this video. And this is going to talk real quick about that energy
And
statement.
there's volume on the.
You'll notice something here with your mailbox. A new full-page Ameren, Missouri energy statement. Customers ask for ways to better manage energy usage.
Oh.
So we created a new monthly energy statement that provides usage information at a glance, as well as clear details for paying your bill and energy-saving options targeted specifically to meet your needs.
Well, that's okay because I
Many
haven't blown
customers
it. I always
told us how
had it
much
just
they
in
like the
case.
program
Yeah,
details
so
and
we're-
Sorry, guys.
Okay, that's okay.
the annual personal energy report that comes out in the spring. So we've taken the best of that report
Okay.
and create.
Okay, but I brought it with me so that just in case that, because sometimes that happens. Okay, so when you guys receive that report in the mail, the reason for that statement is because we want to get you to pay attention to your energy usage for the month. Up here, when you get the energy, and some of you already have it, it does show your amount due and your due date, and it gives you all that information right away. On the left-hand side, it's going to show you some different details of charges. That's always been on your bill. A couple of the names have changed, but these are all the same charges that have been on your bill forever and a day. It does show your meter number and your current reading, your previous reading. It shows your current usage, and then it'll have your actual usage there. My favorite part of the bill is this section here, which shows your electric usage history. So it goes back 12 months. And that way, the bar graph that you see, you'll see where you've used the most. And sometimes it's easier when you see it versus just trying to read numbers. Because when I always look at my bill and I see those numbers, I'd be like, okay, whatever. But now that I have the bar, that bar makes it so much easier to read. And it go, well, what happened right here in December? What would happen in November? Well, we know that those are the months, of course, for the holiday. So you've probably done a little bit more in those 2 days, in those 2 months, than you've done in other months. But when it starts to fluctuate up and down, that means that you're really not managing your usage. That means that you got to start taking a look at what's going on. Your electric usage summary is going to show you how much you have used this year so far. And this is an important number because it shows you last year what you used, and then the year before it'll show you what you've used. So it'll have those numbers there, and you can kind of start to look at it and say, hey, I can be a part of changing this. I can make a difference in what I'm paying per month for my utility bill. Because believe it or not, the rates will increase. There's nothing that we can do about it. That's economy. Everything kind of goes up at times. But when that does happen, we have to be conscious and say, you know what? Things may go up, but I'm going to be responsible for what I do in my own household and how much money comes out of my pocket. You don't have to be subjected to just all types of spending. When I eat something as simple as going to get some fast food, when I go to fast food, I try to figure out, when I first pull up, I look at the dollar menu. So I might look at all that other fancy stuff, but then I dip my head over at the dollar menu because I'm probably going to order from that. Because I don't care anything about this fancy burger. Give me this regular McDouble with no onions, $1 please, thank you. Because I'm in charge of that. I don't care how much you advertise to me and how much things change. I have to tell myself, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to spend. So here, you should be responsible for this too. Don't, just because it's electric and Ameren, Missouri doesn't charge you prior to your bill. They charge you for what you use. I like that because you have the power to say what goes and what happens. They can't charge you $300 prior because you haven't used $300 prior. But if you use $300 at that time, you're going to be charged with $300. So if you have the power to change that and to make a difference in that, by all means do so. And I don't like to talk about other companies or things, but I have Sprint cell phone. I mean, not Sprint, I have Charter, cable. And Charter charges you before. I would get on that phone and argue with 3,000 people because that it never made sense to me how you can charge me before and I haven't used it. So I said, well, you know what? I'm going to change that. So I changed it to DirecTV, and that wasn't a plug for them, but that was just me making an example of you have the power to make these numbers say exactly what you want them to say. So if you want a $100 bill for the month, have a $100 bill for the month. There's no reason that you can't. If you want to have a $200 bill for the month, have a $200 bill for the month. But you have the power to make this happen. And that's very important to me because I hear people say all the time, well, my bill's this high. Okay, well, why? Your bill's that high because there's some things that you're doing at home that you haven't put a cap on. Every event that I go to, I have people that come to me and say, hey, my bill is this, and my bill is this. And I have to look at them and say, well, why is that? Well, what do you mean, why? Well, why? So you're either going from one household, not paying that bill, and when you go to the next, it does nothing but transfer over. So if you have bad habits over here, you're going to have bad habits over there. So at some point in your life, you have got to make some changes. And this is not even just with Ameren. This is with absolutely everything. You have to make some changes because whatever you work hard for, the money that you get, you don't want all of your money going out on bills. So you gotta make some changes. And this is where I can affect the change. If I can tell you what you can do differently, I will tell you all the tricks of the trade. If I have some extra that you don't know, I'll tell you about those too, just to kind of help you out. But we gotta start making sure that we make changes in our own homes. Because one day I got my electric bill, when I try to make a change, when I consciously tried, my bill was $72, $72.86 to be exact. Boy, I was jumping around the house. I was excited because I said, wait, you did it. You did it. And once I did it that month, I did it the following month. But then that third month, I fell off. So I said, okay, Steph, you got to get back on the horse to do this thing right, because if you don't, your bills are just going to go crazy. So I purposely try to do that, and I try to teach people to do that too, because it's so important that you don't have all of your money going towards stuff. Because when you get that $300 bill in the mail, how many people look at it like this? You put it down, and then a week before it's due, you do it again. And it's so funny to me because I do that. And when I do it, I know that other people are doing it. So let's just try to change it. Thank you. So that's kind of it for me. And like I said, I could talk all day, Liz, but
No, you're great.
well, we do have bulbs up front. We have the 100 watt CFL. We have the 60 watt CFL bulb. And then I have some pins as well. I have some pamphlets for you. Liz, did you do the raffle tickets?
Oh, we didn't make anything up.
You didn't make
No, we didn't
anything
print
up.
anything. Did you need something printed for it?
Let's see.
We've got numbers here. We can count the number. Everyone can have a number from their sign-in
Okay, let's
sheet.
do a number.
We can
I'm
do
gonna have to
just
mail
one.
it to them anyway because they
Okay.
didn't come in.
Okay.
But what I have is I have two $25 gift certificates from Ameren, and I want to be able to give those to you. But I didn't have my raffle tickets, so we're gonna do a numbers things, Leah.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if
Okay.
I can find a random number generator.
Okay, so
And
we're gonna
we'll
do a
give you guys
random number, and whatever number you select.
Random
Okay, go ahead.
Random.org? Okay, we've got a website here.
Okay, you got it.
I gotta load it up on my phone.
Okay.
Someone got like a
Okay,
drum, a
what's your
drum roll.
question?
Someone told me that you should unplug everything in your home before you leave home, because if you don't unplug it, you're still using electricity. For instance, if I leave my TV plugged in, but it's off, I turned it off,
Mm-hmm.
they told me that you're still using electricity. Is that so?
Yeah, you are still using electricity. Whenever anything's plugged in, you're using electricity.
But I'm really not gonna run around the house now.
And no, really, you know what, I don't
Lamps and all of
either.
that.
I have to be honest with you, I'm not either. But what I did do was I bought some of those plugs, the surge protectors. They have them now that when you cut it off, you are shutting it completely off. So if you have like 5 or 6 things plugged into it and you shut it off, then that's what you're doing. But see, now what the televisions are doing though is, because it's so fancy and so smart,
You have to reprogram.
you have to reset everything. But I think now I think they now have something on there where I think they have it now, at least on the TV that I have, it resets itself. So you don't do anything. So even if you turn it completely off, when it comes back on, it should be ready and powered, to go for you. So you don't have to reprogram channels and all of that. Now, how to do that, that's not my thing. My husband had to set that up.
But if I'm not using my toaster oven.
But if you're not using that stuff, turn it off. If I tell you what's on my counter, you'd be like, are you kidding me? I got so many things on my counter, it's crazy. But I have to unplug it. I got this NutriBullet blender. I got a regular blender because me and my husband can't use the same blender because he puts stuff in his I don't like. And I don't, we got separate stuff. And I have my toaster, then I have my bagel, then I have 2 crock pots. So I have stuff on my counter. And now that I'm thinking about it, I gotta get some of this stuff off of there. But I have it where I unplug it. If I'm not using it, I do unplug that. So it is important, whatever is plugged up is pulling power. Yeah, so that is a true statement. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions?
Does a shredder pull that much? I mean, my bill increased one month and I called it and said, the only thing I knew that I had done was shred it all day for 3 or 4 days. Does a shredder pull that much?
Well, it could have, because if it's something, if you're using it, but remember though, whatever you change, it's going to affect your bottom number. It always does. There's no way to look, there's no way around it now. If it's using that much, I don't know what that much is though. What time? It was a lot. So there has been something else that you've done. Because I don't think a shredder, I mean, unless you got a 1,000,000 watt shredder. No? So it might be something else that's going on. And you might need to have maybe somebody look at your, because I can't see the shredder doing that, but it depends on if you ran it all day. Did you run it all day for 3 days? Yeah, we do stuff like that, yeah. Any other questions, anybody? Okay.
All right, we've got a random number generator here. We've got 22 people who've signed in.
Okay.
So we're gonna do it twice, is that right? Once, twice?
Yeah, because I have 2, and then once I do that, I can either send them to you to mail out, or I can just
Yep.
mail them directly to the
individual.
individual.
Right.
So
These are two $25
these are two
gift cards for
$25 gift
Ameren.
cards from
One of our
Ameren.
attendance prizes today.
Yes.
We appreciate Ameren donating that for the workshop. All right, so does anyone want to do drum roll? All right. First number is 6.
Linda Cross.
Linda Cross.
Yay.
Now who's Linda? Okay, all right, Linda. All right.
All right, one more drum roll. All right, next one is 12.
12 is,
Ma'am?
oh, wow. Andrew Cross.
No. Do another one. We don't want both of them.
Do you want another one? All right, let's toss it back in there. One more drum roll.
Sorry.
Anyone? Drum roll one more time. 20.
20 is Mike Weiser.
This guy.
Hey. All right. So I will send those to you. They'll probably be back in my office on Monday, Liz.
Okay.
So I'll send those out. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
You're
Stephanie.
welcome, and I'm glad to be a part of it.